Number 9. Babatunda Plumtree. Hospital IT worker Babatunda Plumtree died in September of 2017 following an accident at the Better Gym in Bexley Heath, southeast London. 39-year-old Plumtree, originally from Nigeria, was working out on a Smith machine and lying on the bench, the back of which was slightly angled upwards. The backrest then suddenly collapsed, causing Plumtree to drop a barbell, carrying a weight of an estimated 130 pounds on his lower chest and upper abdomen. He initially told others in the gym that he didn't need medical help, but was later found writhing in excruciating pain on the changing room floor. He'd suffered devastating internal laceration, and responding medics were forced to perform open heart surgery at the scene. In spite of their efforts to revive him, Plumtree succumbed to his injuries, and the official cause of death was listed as hemorrhage and multiple organ failure stemming from blunt force trauma. Number 8. Rich Piana. In August of 2017, bodybuilder Rich Piana, a well-known fitness YouTuber and Instagram influencer, died after spending more than 2 weeks in a medically induced coma. On the 7th, he collapsed at his home in Stillwater, Florida, while getting a haircut from his girlfriend, fitness model Chanel Jansen. As instructed by a 911 operator, Jansen performed CPR on the 46-year-old until paramedics arrived. Roughly 10 minutes into the call, Piana's heart wasn't beating properly, and by the time that its function was restored, his brain had been deprived of oxygen for too long. Paramedics administered Narcan, medication used to counteract opiate overdoses, upon discovering a crushed white powder and a straw on a table in his home. Jansen would later claim that Piana hadn't been using recreational drugs and that he'd actually snorted a high-caffeine pre-workout supplement. Additionally, 20 bottles of testosterone were reportedly found in the house. Piana had been open to his followers about his prolonged steroid use and regarded the substances as a necessity in reaching the upper echelon of professional bodybuilding. He didn't encourage his viewers to take them and claimed to be using his platform to help others make educated decisions. The coma in which he'd been placed was meant to reduce the swelling in his brain, but Piana eventually passed away on August the 25th, a month and a day shy of his 47th birthday. His autopsy revealed that he suffered from a significant heart disease. Because he'd taken hormones and steroids over a span of roughly 27 years, his liver and heart were enlarged to the point that they weighed over twice the average amount for an adult male. Number 7. Megan Hefford. A 25-year-old bodybuilder passed away in June of 2017 due to a condition that rendered her body unable to process her protein-heavy diet. Western Australian woman Megan Hefford was in the preparation phase for a competition that was due to take place in September. She went to the gym twice a day and consumed lean meats and protein shakes, while also taking supplements that targeted muscle recovery and development. Unbeknownst to her, Hefford was suffering from a rare genetic condition called urea cycle disorder. It meant that her body couldn't break down protein properly, which allowed ammonia, a toxic waste product, to build up in her bloodstream. The disorder, combined with her high-protein diet and supplements, had wrought havoc on her body. High levels of ammonia can poison the brain, and tragically, that's precisely what happened to Hefford. In early June, she complained to her mother about feeling unusually lethargic, but the tiredness was attributed to her intense gym sessions. A few weeks later, an estate agent found the budding fitness competitor unconscious at her apartment. She was rushed to a hospital, but by June the 22nd, she'd lost all activity in her brain and died. Aside from the genetic disorder, her death certificate also listed intake of bodybuilding supplements as a factor. As per her wishes, Hefford's family donated her heart, lungs, and kidneys. Number 6. Odalis Santos Mena. In the summer of 2021, a Mexican fitness influencer died while having surgery to reduce perspiration at an unlicensed clinic in Guadalajara. The Backstreet Clinic had recruited 23-year-old Odalis Santos Mena to have the procedure and promote it on social media. She consequently advertised it on her Instagram account, telling her over 147,000 followers that it was effective and safe. The procedure, which in the US is approved by the Food and Drug Administration Agency, involved applying heat energy to the sweat glands, and the end result of reducing perspiration by over 80%. Mena became unresponsive while she was on the operating table and ultimately passed away. The clinic would report that its staff immediately proceeded to do everything medically possible to revive her. An investigation was launched, and her death was partially attributed to a negligent anesthesiologist who allegedly hadn't been trained to administer the drugs. However, a coroner reported that it was a combination of botched anesthesia and a steroid that Mena had been taking. The young woman had creatine, clenbuterol, and oxandrolone in her system, all of which were meant to aid her in bodybuilding pursuits. Clinic staff would subsequently claim that she hadn't informed them about what she'd been taking, neither in her form nor when verbally asked by a doctor. Number 5. Lex Donnie. In June of 2020, 6 weeks after becoming a father for the first time, a bodybuilder passed away under circumstances directly connected to steroid use. In January, 27-year-old Lex Donnie, originally from South Africa, had moved to the UK. He owned the Iron Lion Gym in Jeffreys Bay, back in his home country, and was extremely passionate about fitness. After lockdown measures were introduced in Britain, he reportedly continued to work out in his garden. In the months leading up to his death, 27-year-old Donnie had gone to a medical practice and asked to be placed on testosterone therapy. He was denied a prescription and thus turned to the internet to buy steroids illicitly. In late June, he was taken to the Royal Surrey County Hospital's A&E department in Guildford with symptoms that included dizziness, sweating, and chest discomfort. On the 29th, he suffered fatal cardiac arrhythmia. The police raided his home in the days that followed and found over half a dozen different body-enhancing drugs, as well as needles and a packet of syringes. Donnie, who reportedly struggled with low self-esteem, had been self-administering and injecting testosterone, while also abusing his sister's anti-anxiety medication. He did have significant coronary heart disease, but doctors believed he would have lived longer had he not been abusing steroids. Number 4. Emily Hamlin. During an early morning workout session in February of 2012, a young woman collapsed in the bathroom of a Planet Fitness gym in New York. The moment when 22-year-old Emily Hamlin passed out was witnessed by fellow gym member Stephanie Dick. Hamlin had suffered a heart attack due to an underlying condition that had never been detected. Dick rushed to the front desk and talked to employee Sean Higgins, who reportedly became scared and confused. Dick remembered that he froze in place and didn't know what to do, telling her that he wasn't allowed to enter the ladies' room. Nearly 5 minutes had reportedly elapsed before Higgins picked up a phone and called 911. Meanwhile, a female employee went to the bathroom and checked on Hamlin. She found that her pulse was faint, and it would later be alleged that the employee knew CPR but for unknown reasons hadn't performed it. Shortly after 6 a.m., Hamlin was pronounced dead. In the aftermath, her family launched a wrongful death suit against Higgins and the gym owners, arguing that her life could have been saved if someone would have helped her sooner. Number 3. Claire Lisa Roberts. On August the 26th of 2021, Claire Lisa Roberts, aged 40, suddenly slumped over while working out at the Live Life Light gym in Rhyl, North Wales. Her personal trainer and 2 other gym members desperately tried to revive the mother of 2. They performed CPR before paramedics rushed her to a local hospital, where she was later pronounced dead. While the cause wasn't officially released, some sources reported it was a heart attack possibly triggered by the stress that her body had endured during the strenuous workout. Many paid tribute in the aftermath of her passing, and 2 fundraising campaigns were put together in support of her children. Roberts, an NHS worker, was described as a woman with a zest for life. To honor her and raise money in her memory, several close friends planned a tough 177-mile walk from South to North Wales along Offers Dyke. Number 2. Jessie Drabsch. On November the 17th of 2017, a personal trainer died in the bathroom of the Anytime Fitness gym where he worked in Castle Hill, northwest Sydney. Moments before he passed out and started foaming at the mouth, 31-year-old Jessie Drabsch had injected himself with insulin, which was one of several unprescribed or illegal drugs he'd been consuming at the time. Roughly 20 hours had elapsed before he was found unconscious on the floor after staff, cleaners, and members of the public had passed the bathroom hundreds of times. He was subsequently declared dead due to a critical lack of oxygen to the brain. The list of drugs that Drabsch had taken included the banned drug clenbuterol for fat burning and muscle growth, as well as a muscle stimulant used for horses and dogs. He'd purchased most of his illicit supplements from the dark web using Bitcoin and untraceable software. Drabsch had been warned by doctors that the substances would destroy his life, a prediction which, unfortunately, came to fruition in the most literal sense. Number 1. Christopher Bailey. 28-year-old Christopher Bailey suffered a devastating fitness accident in May of 2012, which resulted in his neck being fatally crushed. Bailey had been binge drinking Jack Daniels with his landlord and another tenant at the house they shared in East Sussex, England. They drank into the early hours of May the 19th, at which point bodybuilding enthusiast Bailey decided to lift weights in the gym that had been set up in the garage. At around 1 p.m, his landlord, who'd been sleeping, found him on the weight bench with a barbell loaded up to 90 pounds, compressing his neck. He knew that something had gone horribly wrong, judging by Bailey's face and the color of his lips. The landlord performed CPR as instructed by an emergency operator, but it was to no avail as the man had been dead for hours. A burnt-out cannabis joint was found close to the bench. While no one had witnessed the accident as it unfolded, it's believed that the combination of heavy drinking and drugs had caused Bailey to lose his grip on the barbell, thus resulting in the crushing injury. Thanks for watching. Would you rather have an extra foot in height or washboard abs for the rest of your life? Let us know in the comments section below.